Hello everyone, welcome to this week's Life on the Hulls. I'm Ross. I'm building this 42-foot catamaran, pretty much on my own, but with a bit of help from Janet, my wife, and my family and friends. And here we are, 6 years in, almost finished, and I'm pretty glad to say that. I just wanted to make a comment about last week's video. I just wanted to thank everybody for the response on last week's video. It was just sensational. In a world where there's a lot of chaos going on, it was so nice to get some great responses to our son Sam's wedding. It was a brilliant affair, and a lot of people tearing up, and I hate making people cry, but I'm still crying thinking about it. So thanks very much for watching it. And often I worry about putting things like that on these videos, and to be honest, it's not boat building, but it is in the context of this build. He has been instrumental in the build of this boat. He has given us so much time, helped us with the initial layup of the hull, with the deck, with the spraying up of the deck, and also gave me a whole month out of his time last year to come and help me do all the internal lining. So such a great lad, and we're absolutely delighted to have him as our son, and of course Veronica as our new daughter-in-law. And this week I'm basically going to get into a lot of woodwork, and you'll notice up behind me here there is the template there for the Helm Station hardtop. That is huge. It's about 3 meters long and about 1.2 meters wide, and I've been working on a bit of stainless fabrication this week to get that done. You'll see that in good time, but for now, let's get straight into the work. It's Saturday morning, 2 days after Veronica and Sam's wedding. We skirted around the weather the whole wedding, and we got through the ceremony, through all the photos without the deluge, and then they had 12 inches of rain at the venue itself. Just after we started the reception, it started raining and did not stop until, well, it's still going. So I'm back at work, feeling a little bit flat because it was one of the best 2 days I think I've ever spent. So I've come into work, and last night we had 10 inches of rain here in Jervis Bay and wind like I haven't seen. Ronnie's out on an anchor out there. He said his anchor held through the night. Oh, God knows how. But I've just come into the boat and there's something I need to show you. So I've got my shop vac out, and remembering that the boat's about 15 foot inside the tent, there's 2 inches of water in my cockpit, and I'm gonna have to vacuum all that out. The problem with this cockpit is I haven't put in the scupper drains yet because I'm still modifying, and you can see them sat there. I had them there, but they're not drilled through yet. But I think it's time I make the effort to drill those scupper drains out, because I'm gonna need a lot more than that when we're out on the ocean. The water laying around in here is ridiculous. My back sugar scoops are bone dry inside the hull extensions. Totally bone dry, so that means my drains have worked, but I need some drains here. I'm really seriously going to need them. So I've got my shop vac. There's no sponging this stuff out today. The spider webs everywhere. I've only been away for 3 days and the buggers are everywhere already. I only have to go away and they come straight back in. So I'll vac all this up, and we'll get inside. Not everything goes as perfectly as you might think on a build like this, and I hope I've shown that as we've gone along through the build. And that bloody fridge is exactly one of those things that has not gone to plan. I'll just show you what I mean. When we went to put it in, the cabinet that I made wasn't exactly square, but the front of the fridge is. So I've decided that in keeping with the rest of the wood trim, I've made a Tasmanian oak surround to go on the stainless surround so it'll all match up. Now that is actually going to look really nice, but it's also going to hide the fact that this side here is not square with this, and I'm going to be able to then hide it underneath the ledge of the actual tabletop or the bench top, and down the bottom is going to be a little bit of a mess as well, so I'm going to have to tidy that up, but I think it actually looks pretty sweet. I do like the fact that the stainless will have a wood surround. So what I've actually done is I've prepared the surface underneath for gluing, and it'll have epoxy on there, and I've also put masking tape on the internal surround so that once the wood is glued in, I'll still be able to remove the fridge. Now you've got to think like that, because I've got to be able to get the fridge out. There's no point in epoxying it in. So there's actually small screw holes in the side ones, in the side of the metal stainless surround, that will hold the frame in place. And I imagine they're for gluing into the cabinetry as well. What I've actually done is put some marine ply blocks behind where these screw in, but I'm not going to screw them in yet. They're not quite gone off yet. The epoxy will probably take another day or so. But what I can do is I can glue the fridge in place, and with shorter screws here, just hold it in the cabinetry for the night, come back tomorrow, unscrew those screws, and then drive some bigger screws right through the fiberglass foam cabinetry and into the plywood in the back, which will hold the fridge in place. And then what I'll do is down here, I'll chock it down the bottom and put the bottom surround in, which is a bit complicated, but I actually think it's actually going to look really, really nice. And it's been a bit of a worry all weekend. I bet it's Sam's wedding. So I'm going to take a long last look at the top of this counter. 2 years. This counter's looked like this. And I'm going to get it in. The fridge is in. And here it is, our countertop. Very unusual shape, but just all very necessary. It took a bit of work to get one right, particularly those miters. It's been a bit of a battle for me remembering how to do these miters from my younger woodworking days. But anyway, we got it done. And I'm just going to slather some epoxy on here, sit it down, job done. As is always the case, I end up with a bag full of epoxy and I've got to use it somewhere. So what I try to do is just imagine where I can use it prior to me ending up with excess. After I did the door jamb on the port side, I thought I had 3/4 of a bag of epoxy left over, so I'm going to use it to glue down this. Now, the problem is you put that on and then you need more. So I'm going to glue this countertop down onto the top here and finish this area. I'm really looking forward to getting these parts in and permanent, which is just such a great move forward for me, because once they're glued down, I don't have to worry about them again, don't have to finish them. I'm just going to come through and do a couple of clear coats on them and they're done. It's amazing what little things excite me these days, and gluing stuff in for the final thing is the most exciting thing, because that means I never have to touch the bloody thing again. So this bench top here for over opposite our electrical cabinet is an only a tiny little one, but I had a little bit of glue left over. I'm getting all the bench tops glued in. I've now done the fridge and the one over in the kitchen there, or the galley. And now I'm going to whack this one, and I've prepared the surface. I've put heaps of epoxy down and I'll put it down, weigh it down. Never going to lift again. It's that simple. Love it. Often got leftover epoxy, so then I'm going to go and make some more. And what I'm going to do here is add a little bit left over from doing this door jamb. So I decided to lock down this particular bench top. It's blowing about 30 knots outside. It's absolutely disgusting day today. But yeah, good for epoxy. It's just quite warm enough for epoxy. But yeah, I've got tons on this bench top here. We don't want to put too much on, but we certainly want to make sure that it's never going to move again. And then I'm just going to have to put a nice little wooden trimmer on there, because it's actually sitting on a foam shelf that I put in just to reinforce the strength here. But a nice solid hard wood top, not very thick, but certainly going to give a finish, you know, a remarkable finish that I couldn't get in any other way with laminates. There's been a 2-week absence of Janet. It's about 3 weeks actually, and it's been a very good reason. We've had Sam's wedding, but we had Sam's auntie Sue, Janet's sister, arrive from the UK for 2 weeks, and Janet said, I don't think I'll be working while Sue's here. And I said, well, I don't think you should either. You should take that time to catch up. But we're back to work today, and the weather's amazing. Welcome back to work. Oh, it's coffee too.
Yeah, it's not me you want, it's the coffee.
Oh, I want you, darling.
Thanks.
Cool. So, have I got some work for Janet? I've been busily preparing woodwork, and it's all Janet's to stain and clear. I've been saying it all week that I can't wait till Janet gets in and does some clear painting. But there's lots to do, and we'll run through that in a moment. You ready for it?
I've enjoyed myself.
She's feigning a shoulder injury at the moment, and it's really annoying me.
I'll have you know I've had a scan of both my shoulders, and they're both extremely inflamed according to the diagnosis.
It's not from polishing, surely.
Absolutely it is.
Oh, okay. All right, so I've set Janet up here. I've got 3 tables set up here ready for staining, and the kayak in the background there that I've been working on in the background is looking pretty good. But we've got plenty of room here now to lay out all of our architraves and dressed timbers for clear coating.
So what is it you want me to do?
Okay, come down here and I'll show you. I've got a bit of work for you. Alright, so all of the door trims, anything with green tape.
There's a bit then.
So anything that has green tape on it needs to be done. Everything's marked. If you pull them off, you can actually pull them off because the door jambs are actually glued in where they belong.
So I don't need to, that's good.
Well, you shouldn't need to. They all need to be clear coated both sides and then 3 or 4 coats on the outside. So you should have it written on it. Oh, actually, first piece. It's not written on it.
So this is
Port, forward. Like that. And basically every little piece. So there's a lot of little pieces. So please don't lose them because
where the hell am I going to lose?
I don't know. There's a lot of little bits that could easily end up in the bin. All these little.
Like 30 minutes.
Is that one written on the back?
Yeah.
See, that's it. It's amazing how you pulled the first one.
30 metres to where I'm going.
Yeah, well, I've got a lot of little bits of wood laying around.
Oh, so it's more about you than me.
Yeah, that little piece there could easily end up in the bin, and I've got to work out the angles again.
Especially as there's nothing written on it.
Right, okay, well, you better write on that. This is what happens when you come up to work, Darren. You get stuff done.
Yeah, well, you've not done much since I've been gone, have you?
Oh. Like every piece of woodwork in the boat has been done while you've been gone.
Yeah, it's not staying.
Good to have you back. Get some productivity happening. I know you do, Darren.
I've fed and watered everyone for the last 2 weeks.
Enjoyed your time with your sister and cousin, though, didn't we? And family. Ellen, Zach, Sam, Von. Had a ball. All right, get back to work now. So we can go and have some fun. Now I've got Janet back on board. I can get onto the countertops. They all need to be sanded down. There's a little bit of mess on them with the epoxy. It's so hard to get this right and to keep it clean when you're working with it. There's always a bit of leftover epoxy, and no matter how hard you try, so I'll give this a good sand back. And I've got this one here from the main cabin as well, the master cabin. This is basically the dressing table. Janet getting down some classical music. There's a full-on wood shop here at the moment. No fiberglassing going on. That's nice, isn't it?
Yeah, interesting.
So we're just getting rid of the little burn marks. Occasionally the router catches, and could potentially be a bit of a dull blade because it's done a lot of routing. Every single piece has been routed here. And we've got some bench tops ready to go. A lot of these architraves and surrounds, and hopefully by tomorrow they'll all be starting to get installed, eh? Yeah. Because you're not going on marine rescue tomorrow because they called off a day. Yeah. Happy about that? Oh, you'd rather be out on the water watching the Hercules drop stuff in the ocean, eh? Yeah. Oh well.
So Ross has done a lot of work on the bench tops and the tall surrounds. I've now come in to do the finishing touches, which is the light sands and the staining, the gloss stain, so that we can then put them back in and know that they'll be reasonably waterproof. He's done a beautiful job. I think he has,
They're looking alright, eh?
Yeah, so these are the undersides though.
Yeah, we're going to seal them first so we don't end up with any moisture in them. That's the key.
Have you noticed how he just said what I said? Can't help himself. So this is all the door jambs and surrounds. So I've just sanded off all the where Ross routed all the edges. So you sometimes get a little catch on them. So I've just sanded those out and they're ready for their first couple of coats, and then I'll sand and coat and sand and coat. What don't you want?
So you've done the underside?
Yeah.
Cool. So we'll get a coat on here and come back tomorrow, sand it, and yeah, they look great. It's amazing the colour that comes out of them. A bit of stain on them. I mean, it's a clear coat, but
so it makes it look richer.
Oh, good. Yeah, really good. There's a bit of a dry patch over here, so we'll get all that tomorrow when we come back. And
where's the dry patch?
It's just there. I think it's probably where there was a sticker on it, like it had the. So I gave those a sand, but we'll give them another sand tomorrow. Beautiful. Got the sight dog over here. What do you reckon, Lex? What do you reckon? Hey, happy? So just when you think you got a roll on, I get all the woodwork all prepared, all cut, ready for clear coating. Janet came in yesterday and spent pretty much all day sanding them, detailing them, getting them nice and neat and ready for a first coat of clear coat on the backs of them. Obviously we're sealing the wood so we don't have any moisture problems later on, and warping of the woodwork, and I'm obviously epoxying it all in place and clamping it so that we don't have that distortion that you can get with the cheaper woods. But so she's coming and giving it the first clear coat. So it's had its first clear coat, and then she goes to bed last night, wakes up sick. So she wakes up. So she wakes up this morning, crook as a dog. So guess who gets to do the next coat and all the preparation and the sanding. So I've just come in and I've given all these bench tops 2 more coats of our clear coat and all the architraves. Now this isn't all of them, and that's probably only about 20% of the woodwork that I've been working on for the last 6 or 8 weeks. I've been going pretty hard at. I've been doing a lot of other jobs in between. Yesterday I faired the bows again, working on the kayak project. Lots going on, but these are looking really, really nice now, and I'm going to give them another couple of coats just to bring up that high build finish, and that'll be it for it, and then we can start to glue them all in. That's going to be pretty much a week's work gluing all these parts in. These are all prepared and all bundled up now, and I'm basically for each of the jobs, so there's a lot of gluing to be done here. Basically all the port doors and cabinetry is pretty much all here. There's a lot already in, but these ones here, I've bundled them up so I don't lose bits, because there's a lot of little mitered sections that I don't want to lose, because I have to calculate those miters again, and there's quite a lot more going on here. So if I can ever get Janet back to work, she's been a bit crook the last couple of days. I think it's just been such a massive social event with Sam's wedding and all the people that have been through our house and at the airport and the wedding. I think she's just come down with something, and hopefully she'll get better over the next couple of days and get back to work. I've also made another 3 frames here. Now these are for our heads, and this one here is our vanity. It'll be our medicine cabinet. This one here is for the small access underneath the sink, so sink vanity in the port, in the starboard head, and this one here is for the port head. So I'm sort of knocking off a lot of projects here while I've got all the wood on the go, and very, very important that I get all the woodwork done at once, because I don't want to be coming back and forth, but I will have a lot of little jobs to do at the end, I'd imagine. And while the woodwork continues, I've just finished this small shelf here. Now this had to be done all in one piece because it's going to be hard to get it to glue in, so that's now fully done, and I can give that to Janet now to sand up, and that'll complete this unit here. So it's been a bit of a bits and pieces affair the last couple of weeks. In fact, I'd have to say the last 7 or 8 weeks all I've done is woodwork. I've really done nothing on the boat apart from fair the bow again, and work on the back hatches, and it's starting to grind on me a little bit. I do love working with wood, it's beautiful stuff, and I do love the result you get because it's almost an instant effect, but it can be a bit grinding when that's all you're doing, when you've got other pressing things that need to be done. So I've got to be a little bit careful I don't grind myself into a hole. I'm almost done the woodwork. I've still got the galley cupboards and shelves and things to complete, and a lot of the fiddles in the shelving, but you know, I'm pretty much there. So important with epoxy that you mask everywhere underneath, or you're going to have it glued permanently, and I didn't want it glued permanently because I didn't have to finish that one in place here, because it would be a nightmare. So I can now lift that whole thing away, take it to the factory, sand it down, get it all clear coated, and just glue it in once. Beautiful. I'm really seeing some massive progress. I've got the fridge counter all cut and ready for almost for installation. These stern cabin bench tops are now glued in. A little bit of finishing to do there. Actually, I clear coated this yesterday and sat something on it, and I've got a little bit of white paint on there, so I'm not real happy about that, but it still has to have another couple of coats of clear on here to finish it. And all the mitering's actually all joined up nicely now. I've got a little bit of leftover epoxy here from a couple of frames that I'm making for the heads. So I've just prepared the surface here, sanded this up, given it a wipe with acetone, and I've got the bench top here, so this one's going in now, and that'll be permanent. I like having all this stuff glued in. It is coming together, guys. It is coming together. So I've actually glued all of the bench tops in, and picking these sort of wetter days to get some smaller jobs done. But this one here's had its clear coat done. It's a bit dusty at the moment. It's all in one piece. I'm just going to glue it in.